Well, here we are with a C5 Corvette steering rack. And in this procedure here, we're going to be replacing the inner tie rods. Inner tie rods aren't really something that really go out ever unless you hit a curb or something like that and they'll get bent. You can kind of see now this one here is bent on both sides, pretty bad. And so we need to replace the inside tie rod. So basically, move. This is what we're going to be putting on here. And just a normal inner tie rod. It's got some thread locker on it because you want to make sure these are on really tight. You can put this, it's probably best to do this while it's on the vehicle if you don't own a vise, because these are going to be on there really tight. So it's best to have something that's holding it stationary, like inside the car is probably the best way. Now it's a little more cumbersome to get underneath and work on it. And but if you have a vise and it's out, the vise is the way to go. So basically, pretty straightforward. You're gonna take your cutters and cut off the inner strap, move the outer boot, and basically it's basically like a ball joint right in here. And you have this plastic sleeve. This plastic sleeve, has been on there a long time, and it really is just pressed on there. You really just got to push it off. But they're really hard to just get off with your hand. I've never been able to really do it that way. So I always use a block of wood and kind of just get it right on the edge of the white plastic, like this, just right on the edge. Because you're gonna have to reuse this because it doesn't come with the inner tie rod. Give it some hits. And there you go. And then you'll see on the tie rod itself, it's got areas just like how a nut is. And I'll do that here. And basically you're just going to undo it that way. It's left-hand threads or normal threads. So left to go loose. On the factory one, it's about a 1.5 inch wrench. This is a little bit big, but 1 3/8 is too small. And we're just going to usually I'd heat it up. Usually about 40 seconds of heating it. Try to heat the actual nut itself of the tie rod, not the shaft, so it expands. And it takes a lot, and then it'll loosen up. And as you see on here, there's a lot of thread locker on there. And that's another reason why it is so hard to get off of there. So we'll clean up this inside here a little bit before we put the new one on. Make sure to get this back on before you put the new one on. It'd be nice if there was a flat spot on the actual rack gear itself where you could get a wrench on this side too, so you could tighten it that way or loosen it that way, but there's not. And so you'll see this kind of shifting a little bit. That's why it's good to heat it up. You don't want to bend the shaft either. So I'll put this back in the vise and do the final tightening on that. And then we'll push on the white sleeve, put a boot back on it, and reclamp it back up here, and that's it. This is a good time also to get new tie rod ends. Since you're going to do an alignment anyway, you might as well just do it all right now. This is a lot stiffer and obviously not bent like the old one was. And just remember that the boot does not come with the tie rod, and this is part number EV343. Rock Auto, Summit Racing, pretty much any place you can get that. So that's all there is to it. And then we'll be doing another video here. This is the Doug Rippey Motorsports solid aluminum bushing to give a little better feel. The normal rubber bushing that goes here in the mount, which gets replaced with that. And the only other thing I would say to probably add for performance is this long line here, especially in the C4 Corvettes, can fracture in road racing, is to just kind of cover this whole tube right here with just some clear or any color you want silicone, and then I'll keep it from vibrating because a lot of times they'll crack and they'll leak around there. So, all right, that is it.